Mr. President, at the outset, I thank you, and India would like to express that peaceful settlement of disputes is a topic of immense significance, particularly in the backdrop of several ongoing conflicts across different regions. I thank the Secretary General for his insightful remarks. As the principal organ of the United Nations that has been tasked with maintenance of international peace and security, the Security Council has a repertoire of tools and mechanisms at its disposal for discharging its functions and responsibilities. Chapters 6 and 7 of the UN Charter outline such tools and mechanisms. Strong political will and joint sense of purpose are critical to the effective implementation of these tools and mechanisms. India would like to highlight the following points in this regard. First, the definition of a dispute is central to today's debate. A dispute is not to be confused with issues related to illegal use of armed force, such as armed aggression or illegal occupation, which directly impinges upon the sovereignty and territorial integrity of member states. We have seen clear examples where geopolitical intermediation in the Council has projected armed aggression as a dispute. The Council has only very rarely made a determination of armed aggression. Clarity on this count is critical to determine which provisions of the Charter apply. Second, settlement of disputes and issues emanating from illegal use of armed force call for inclusive, open, and genuine efforts rooted in a problem-solving and pragmatic framework. Linking such issues to race, ethnicity, faith, religion, and other identity markers not only reflects a divisive approach, but is also symbolic of the absence of engagement in good faith. Third, Security Council must duly factor in present realities as it examines decades-old issues linked to maintenance of international peace and security. It's also important to draw out the divergences between Chapter 6 and 7 of the UN Charter in this context. The applicability of provisions in these two chapters varies. Chapter 7 is aimed at undertaking concrete actions when they offer firm pathways to the re-establishment of peace with respect to threats to the peace, breaches of the peace, and acts of aggression. Their non-implementation could have an immediate aftermath, leading to further deterioration of peace and other serious consequences. Chapter 6, however, is fundamentally different. It offers wide-ranging options to deal with situations whose continuance is likely to endanger the maintenance of international peace and security. However, the tools under the purview of this chapter also call for taking into account any procedures that may have already been adopted bilaterally by the parties concerned. These interventions are drawn up in order to address the prevailing realities and do not have perpetual validity. They warrant a review in accordance with changing circumstances and contexts. Fourth, the UN Security Council mandate should not be an exception and must be aligned with the UN 80 framework. Comprehensive stock-taking and evaluation of Security Council mandates must be carried out under a collective review mechanism within the purview of the mandate implementation review process. Continuation of mandates may be guided by their relevance, utility, and applicability. Narrow political reasons should not be determinants on this score. There is no reason for outdated and irrelevant mandates to continue in perpetuity without sunset clauses at considerable expense to the already constrained UN budget. Fifth, established regional and sub-regional organizations could play an enabling role in resolving disputes and conflicts. They could complement the functions of the UN on this front. However, cross-regional groups that are neither bound by geography nor common issues with no direct linkage to international peace and security may not be treated in a similar vein. Such groupings lack domain expertise and regional knowledge that are critical to resolution of dispute. Mr. President, the Security Council has yet again witnessed a brazen attempt by Pakistan today to misuse this august platform for its divisive agenda. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir has always been, is, and will remain an integral and inalienable part of India. This is the constitutional and legal reality that Pakistan deliberately chooses to ignore. The only outstanding issue with regard to Jammu and Kashmir is the naked aggression and illegal occupation of India's sovereign territory by Pakistan. The ongoing developments in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir fully expose the true nature of the Pakistani state. The world is witness to the continued suppression of basic rights, freedom of expression and association, and stifling of fundamental freedoms of Kashmiris in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. These are not isolated instances, but part of a larger design by the Pakistani establishment in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir for close to 8 decades. This pattern extends to other regions of Pakistan that also face repression. Incarceration of leaders, including a former prime minister, electoral outlawing of the main opposition party, a constitutional coup by the military through the 27th Amendment, and other such actions have decimated any semblance of democracy. Pakistan would do well to look inward and address the real issues in the country rather than resorting to fabricated narrative construction with religious imagery aimed at scoring domestic brownie points and misleading the wider UN membership. While similar developments in other countries are excoriated by the United Nations, such repression and developments in Pakistan do not receive the attention they deserve. Mr. President, in closing, I would like to stress that as a founding member of the UN, with abiding commitment to the UN Charter and international law, and having made remarkable contributions to the maintenance of international peace and security, India stands fully ready to work alongside the UN and other member states in enabling this most universal of multilateral organizations to discharge its foundational purpose. I thank you, Mr. President.